Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of Midweek Matters, but it's jam and cheese, where you're back in cheese. Great episode with Hindy on Monday, but now you're back to preview all the finals, the four finals that we've got coming up this weekend. But more importantly, we'll crack on and we'll ask how you are. The knee, I believe there's some positive news.
Yes, there's some positive news. I went to the doctor's appointment yesterday. Instead of waiting another three more weeks for surgery, I get to have it on next week. They said to have it on Friday, but I told them I've got the buy round on Saturday, the live show. So had to postpone it until then because, obviously priorities.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. The live show is going to be awesome, actually, at Wing House this Saturday.
Yes, so I'll be able to attend that with Sterlo. And, it's a little bit of, I guess, good news because when I got told that I had to wait, I was pretty fucking pissed off, to be honest.
Yeah, just would have probably pushed it back a month.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, I've been pushed back a month from surgery. That means my comeback time is going to be pushed back a month, but that wasn't actually the case. It just meant that I would be able to start rehab quicker rather than having to wait for the MCL to recover from surgery and the ACL to recover from surgery. So I can essentially do what Sam Walker will be able to do when I come back at the same time. So, it didn't seem that way when I got told I've got to wait 4 weeks.
It's good that you've got to, well, it's not good, but because you'd want him playing, but it's kind of good for you on a personal level and for Sam that you've got like a little training partner and both going through exactly the same recovery protocols and all that.
I couldn't think of a better training partner as well because he's so rat-ass. Like he's gonna make me he's gonna definitely make me look a lot better than I probably am when I'm training because he's just like that careless guy. As soon as we start running though, then he's just one of those guys that everything comes naturally. Like, he's got more talent in his left pinky toe than I do in my two of my body. So, and then just the fitness for him just comes naturally. So,
is he one of those?
I got to flog him while we're in the gym.
The indoor cardio.
And then when we get on the field, then then he's really going to go down the straight.
Yeah, it's a strange situation being like a lower leg injury and that the indoor cardio machines. Ugh. That is. Like you just fought.
They're very boring.
Do you have that rope?
The ski erg?
No, the ski erg. But do you have the rope thing? You've just got to continually pull the rope down. It's just on a circle.
Yeah, I've done it before though.
Oh mate,
they had that at Melbourne. Just that. Yeah.
And then the hand bike, the grinder.
The grinder. Nah, yeah. See, we don't have both of those.
Oh. Yet. Trent Robinson, if you're listening, Nick Politis has got plenty of cash. Surely he can buy you a grinder.
I think they just go on the assault bike and don't use the pedals. You can put your feet up on the like. There's like a little level for your feet, and you just smack it away. To
be fair, it does make a difference. When I was doing some rehab from a groin operation, all that sort of stuff, it does add up, and it does make it a fraction easier to get into the running element of the condition.
I am looking forward to being absolutely jacked.
You're going to get ripped?
Yeah, jack. Up top, be huge. I'm already built like a bloody cloud.
Charlie's getting into his weights. He's going to bulk for summer. He's going to have a big spring, so he's got like next 6 to 8 weeks. He's going on like he's telling me all about his training program. He's like, drop sets, has like volume training.
Just a little touch of.
Do I go for short? Just like what reps are 1 or 2? How am I going to build muscle? I was like, mate, if you're in a building phase, you've got to overeat, stack on the size, and then shred for the last 2 weeks. So I can't wait to see Charlie rocking the beach body and around Bondi, Cudgel.
Oh, natty? You'd have.
He's saying it's a library. Genuinely was telling me the other day in the gym, and he's trying to pack some muscle on. So, I'm looking for a whole new wardrobe coming Charlie White's way as well. So.
He's Still got all the socks though.
He does, Cheese, and we'll pick that up in a moment. But yeah.
How are you, Jimmy? How's your week been? I heard you've got some big news for the Dogs fans coming up.
Yes, Cheese. So it's been this is going to be a big week. First up Sunday, I'm doing the marathon, Sydney Marathon, first ever marathon. So got to get the train from Gymea to the city at about 4:30, 4:15. Get to the start line, box the marathon off, get it in a Uber, get to Addo-Carr Stadium for like a 4-hour show, pre-game, then do the game, and then we're out for dinner and drinks. So Sunday is going to be massive. But no, what I've done, Cheese, so on the Sunday Simbin, before that, I've been thinking quite a lot about, I had a chat with Camel Graham about like life and purpose. And some of the things he spoke about was like bringing joy to people, putting smiles on people's faces, giving them experiences. But then on the Sunday Simbin, they were winding me up on the group chat saying basically like the Dogs fans are in the fetal position, like all this wave of support after the loss against the Cowboys. So they were winding me up in the group chat about that. And then we got on air and they were saying like, it looked like Manly were going to beat the Sharks and then go. It would have meant that if Manly beat the Sharks, Dogs fans would have had to go to Brookvale for round 1 of finals. And I was like, we're going to go there. The Dogs fans are going to go there and we're going to take over. And they're like, no, Manly fans will get the tickets, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I'm going to buy some tickets for Dogs fans so we can make sure we've got a decent allocation. I want to contact someone at the NRL. Anyway, so that doesn't happen. So we end up playing at Addo-Carr. But I was like, well, I've got to put my money where my mouth is. I can't just say, oh, it was just about Brookvale. And they were continuing to wind me up. So I bought 10 grand's worth of tickets for the Dogs fans. So we've got, I think it's 230 tickets in one of the...
Is that all 10 grand gets you?
10 grand got me 230 tickets. And this isn't a buy round promotion. This is like out my own...
Yeah.
Out my own pocket.
Jesus.
I was like, right, I'm going to do it. Because the wave of support of Dogs fans is so important. It's going to be the difference, I think. So I read some things in yesterday's paper where I think Manly have come out and said, no, the Manly fans will travel and they've sold out their bay. Well, the Dogs fans are just going to drown them out with the noise.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, how are we going to do it? Basically, so if you want to we're going to give them away in packs of 4, in sets of 4. So you've got to email or DM the buy round.
Yeah.
Tell us why you should be going. Hopefully, it's people that you maybe can't afford, or the price of tickets is an issue. Hopefully, we get those real passionate Dogs fans that haven't already got it and we're on the fence about going because of, obviously the cost of living issues with that a lot of people have at the moment. So there's whatever 230 divided by 4 is. I've not done the math. I've really prepared for this. So if you DM
us on Instagram. I've got a mic here as well, Jimmy. Still be able to get it.
Sorry, go ahead, Charlie. Do you want to?
Yeah, DM us on Instagram. But you got to prove you're a Doggies fan. You've got to show us a picture of you in Doggies gear. Tell us a story about why you're a Dogs fan, because you wanted to give it to real Dogs fans. It's a family pass, so it's you and 3 people. I think we thought it was 200, Jimmy, but if it's 230, that's about 57 and a half. So
yeah, I got the email from my contact at the NRL. I think it's 230. So
yeah, cool. Message us on Instagram, reach out to us, and we'll sort you out. We'll email you the tickets.
Yeah, and go the Dogs fans. We'll be very loud. We need us to be very loud. Get us home. It's been 2 difficult weeks. I've said this before, that every team is spinning their own narrative. They're spinning their own story around why they're going to advance into the finals. And yeah, the Dogs, their crowd, the connection to community, connection with each other, and the fact that they've had these 2 losses, I think they're primed. It's not a bad thing. On the Dogs, one person that won't be there, Cheese, is Josh Addo-Carr. Strange.
Yeah.
A lot of
confusion.
A lot of confusion.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what's going on in this situation.
Because if you we've spoken about it, and it's like, if you tested and then you're allowed to drive, you would assume.
Yeah, well, if you're, I'm not blaming anyone, but if you're positive, surely you can't just be let to drive home.
That's where
assume.
the
confusion is. And I don't know what the second tester's doing or how this is all working, but
I think
it's
again a lot of confusion, a lot of conflicting stories. Josh is maintaining his innocence, and I think there's a test that's gone to the lab, but then the SWAT again. So you do a test, it's been allegedly positive, then they take a sample to be sent to a lab, and then they're supposed to do yet another test, and then that would have determined whether he could or couldn't drive. But they've sort of said, "Oh no, you."
Is it sort of like when you drink drive? You know how when you drink drive, if you blow to a certain limit, they go, "Oh, we got to do a second test," and then you go and do another test inside like a station.
I have no idea.
And then that's how it used to be, watching TV shows and that. You do a second test inside a little station room, and then that determines whether you're lost your license or you're just getting a fine.
But you're not just allowed to drive home after that, are you?
Nah, I don't think so.
So a lot of confusion. He stood himself down, which I'm genuinely wrestling whether that's the right or wrong thing to do, because, you know, I was at the Bulldogs presentation night on Monday. There was a lot of media there. There was a media scrum there at training yesterday. I think at times like this, it's important to have strong leadership. Gus Gould, Cam Serraldo, you know, Gus front the media straight away, and address the situation. But it you know what, I've been thinking about, I read a lot of other sports stories, and Jannik Sinner, the Italian tennis player who's just won the US Open, he failed 2 WADA tests for like this steroid cream that was allegedly found his way in through his physio that had been using it to treat a cut. He's gone on and won the US Open. I'm probably going a little bit off track here, but do
you think it's a bit premature, him standing himself down without the second test?
Yeah, I do. I'm in a bit. I'm a bit. I don't know what to think. I don't.
Because if he's innocent and he was able to drive home, there's no policy that's the NRL have in place that can stand him down.
Well, that's it. This is
like what's he done illegally if he hasn't gotten a ticket?
Yeah, you could. The NRL and the what's that? Not the Players Association. You've got to inform Integrity Unit.
Yeah,
NRL Integrity Unit. They're not in a position to act.
So I think for them to act that no stand down policy, it has to be the minimum sentence has to be 5 years or maximum.
But they can still suspend a player like they did with Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah.
So that's not a no fault stand down policy issue like they did with Val Holmes. Like the Integrity Unit go, we're gonna.
Well, they haven't done that yet.
Exactly, they haven't. So
like it sort of points towards him not doing anything wrong.
But then, I think it's very strong leadership the way the Bulldogs have got on the front foot. I'm genuinely conflicted about whether it's the right course of action. I guess moving forward as a playing group, you really do have to just put that to one side and almost add it to your story around, look, Kate Mann's missing, the Fox is out. But
build a narrative around it.
Skelton comes in and you build the narrative, or maybe you just go, lads, like, Fox is a great player, but he's not the reason we're here.
Yeah.
And we're going to be just fine. Like, Matt Burton is so important to that team. We all know that the level of important different players are gonna bring. But again, it's just I don't know if we'll ever really get to the bottom of it, to be honest. Because even if other things do come out now, like 1 game suspension would be like that would be the
But if it comes out that second test was negative or something like that, then what happens?
Well, just play on. But even if now the test that's been sent to the lab is to come back positive, it's Josh has saved the sort of suspected suspension by standing himself down. I don't know. It's a bit of a mess. It's not great for the club, for Fox, but he's presumed innocent until proven guilty. I'm very much a advocate of that. But just, I reckon I don't really. Yeah, it's so confusing.
Well, I've just never ever heard of something like this.
No, exactly. It's a
new thing.
Yeah. Well, I think actually Sam Burgess was involved in a similar incident and positive roadside, sent to the lab. It came back negative. So I really don't know what to think of this, and it is such a new situation, a unique. First of its kind situation.
I think I roughly do remember that, actually, Sam Burgess.
But he was not playing at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to more positive news, Cheese. We've got a brand new segment for Final Series, all thanks to My Muscle Chef. My Muscle Chef, fueling everybody, every goal. What a sensational product. I don't know if you've tried their protein crisp bars.
No.
But they are insane.
No, I haven't actually tried their protein crisp bars, but I am a big fan of protein bars. They just taste like chocolate bars, but they're protein bars.
Mate, these ones with the crisps in, like next level. And they also, the meal that I like to have, the chicken sun-dried tomato pasta bake, first class.
Yeah, I feel like they're definitely and I'm not just saying this because they're sponsor us, but they're definitely the best tailored for NRL players as well. Like the way they have the meat to pasta ratio is a lot bigger than other companies. I'm not going to tarnish any other companies, but and if you've ever seen Dale Finucane, he's the biggest advocate for this brand in the world, and look at the size of that bugger. So,
well, thanks.
Is that why Charlie's got all the muscle shit out? He's trying to bulk up.
Well, this is what. So My Muscle Chef very kindly sent us some product where I'm yet to see any of it. I've Charlie, but where is it? He goes, they had to send it somewhere, so they sent it to my house. I'm like, well, there's a mailbox here, mate. So maybe My Muscle Chef, instead of this new segment about what's cooking, they should be following Charlie White around, see if he can actually bulk up using all these protein bars. I think maybe that was the catalyst for this, for Charlie's new fitness regime. But basically, Cheese, what we're going to do for My Muscle Chef is talk about a player who's got to cook this weekend. So I'll let you begin.
Oh, I wish it was Damien Cook this week, but that would just be perfect. But my player to cook this weekend would be Angus Crichton. From my Roosters team, they've got a tough ask against Penrith Panthers, but he's up against Nathan Cleary. He's been named this week. Whether he plays or not doesn't make a difference, but I assume his shoulder's not going to be 100%. Angus Crichton's one of the biggest, muscliest humans on earth. He needs to wreak havoc on that edge at Penrith, and he'll be a big reason on why Roosters get the dub.
He will be. He's the main man. My person who's got to cook is Stephen Crichton. So a different Crichton, 2 Crichtons in the kitchen.
What is the plural for Crichton? Croutons.
Croutons. No, Stephen Crichton. Stephen Crouton. No, he will need to be cooking. He's going to get all the ingredients together for a magnificent Bulldogs display. He's the one that's going to pull the strings. He's going to be the master chef. There's going to be people doing all the prep, but he's the one that's going to serve the dish and go, voila. So big thanks to My Muscle Chef fueling everybody every goal. Really pleased to have them on board, and hopefully I won't be buying any protein crisp bars because Charlie will give me some very kindly, but I doubt it. Geez, just before we get into the finals preview, a little bit more news. There seems to be a few of the domino effects happening with the middle forwards. Christian Welch now linked to the Broncos, as well as Regan Campbell-Gillard. Christian Welch, he sort of struggled to get a lot of game time this year for the Storm, which I personally find quite surprising. Obviously, they bring in Utoya Kamanu next year. It looks as though Nelson will be staying as well. Christian Welch, would he be a good buy for a team like the Broncos?
Yeah. He'd be an amazing buy for a lot of clubs. He's a fearless leader, like among, I guess, the office. He knows the ins and outs of every contract. Like I'm not talking on the field, he's going to be a great asset because he's got a lot of knowledge coming from that Melbourne system. But he knows the ins and outs of every contract, helps every rookie, helps every young player, how to maximize their potential, their earning growth, or their TEA. He's just that guy and always wants to help the young fellas and their step, and he gives time to all them players. And I think the Broncos are missing someone that's got full-on leadership values and leadership skills, and I think he'd be a great signing. He's pretty hilarious too. Like he's one of the most witty, funny, just right down your alley. Really funny guy.
One of my favourite, I'm sure you've got some Welsh stories, but my favourite Christian Welsh story is the Knights lost. You know, he was in the press conference. He's like, that's.
They had no one. Me and Christian Welch are really close. So, probably the funniest thing is just this ongoing joke he has about white rhinos, and he refers to himself in third person as the white rhino. And he says that he's a white rhino because he's a white front rower and they're a dying breed. They're going extinct in the NRL. So he'd call you a white rhino. He'd give it a lot of respect to you. And Josh King, he's another white rhino, but they're slowly going extinct in the NRL at the moment. And but it's just funny that he refers to himself as the white rhino.
Yeah,
the white
there's
rhino.
Still a few knocking around, Christine. Actually, he's joining the show, coming on the round table. So
he's very, very intelligent.
I get that impression.
Yeah,
so
very,
hopefully he doesn't
very
upstage the rest of the guests. So he's locked in for that. It's interesting that you speak about Christian Welch and what he's going to bring. Like if you look at him versus like a Regan Campbell-Gillard, different styles of player, and I don't know Reg well, but Christian, it seems, is going to bring more of that leadership role, and they've both got different strengths. But I wonder what the Broncos staff will be looking for to bring more of. Do they need that front rower like a Campbell-Gillard, or do they need someone that's going to bring some leadership skills and maybe a little bit of offload, a little bit of ball playing?
Yeah, well, I think as well as that is Christian's been in the Melbourne system for nearly a decade. He would know the ins and outs of the defensive principles, and whether Kevy likes it or not, to listen to Christian and hear about what he has to say moving forward about the defensive structures and that, I think he'd be the perfect person to be able to dissect the Broncos defense and sort of give his input on what Melbourne do. And it's no secret that Melbourne's been, a pillar of the sport for so long. And he is a defensive-based player with a high effort. He's not going to last too long out there, but you've got front rowers in the Broncos team that play 80 nearly every week. So,
maybe looking at it from the Broncos' point of view, do they need an
attacker or a defender?
Well, they lost Flegler, but then does Campbell-Gillard come in and play a role like Flegler? Probably, but then do they need something different? Probably. So, it's an interesting one, and obviously when one makes the call, or Broncos, it's on Broncos to make the call who they go after. I can't envisage both going there, but yeah, I think Welsh will end up there for sure. Geez, let's get on to the finals. Week 1 preview. We've got the Panthers coming up against your Roosters. Nathan Cleary is back, being named to start in the halves. Sandon Smith will start in the halves for the Roosters, and Connor Watson taking your number 9 jersey. Talk to us about this game.
Oh, it's going to be I reckon it's going to be a cracker of a game. It's Friday night, eh?
Friday night at Penrith Park.
Yeah, it would have been nice to be at Allianz, unfortunately, but yeah, it's going to be a game full of fireworks. I've already touched on it before. I think Angus Crichton holds the keys to this game. And Sandon Smith, he has to step up, obviously. He took on a bit of a running role last week where he just kind of got through the game without trying to do anything special, and I think he needed to do that just to get his mind right for being the halfback now. But I expect him to be a bit more adventurous. He's quite a punter when he plays, and he's a really, really good halfback. Excited for this game, but I think Angus Crichton, he's got to give every bit of work to Nathan Cleary's shoulder, and I think the rest of the team will have to follow in suit.
I'm with you on Crichton. One person who I think has probably slipped under the radar a little bit this year for the Roosters, and not really spoken about, is one of the lads who's moving on, Joey Manu. Like, I think when you're in a situation like he is, where he's leaving the game, and he's not had like one of those years where it's like, whoa, Joey Manu. The sort of the highlight stuff's been Sam Walker. Tedesco's had a really strong year. Yourself, obviously the story around Jared. But I reckon Joey Manu will be thinking, I've got 3 or 4 games of rugby league left. I'm going to show them what they're going to miss.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think he had a great start to the year. Mate, the Vegas game, he was full of highlights there. Yeah. But then, broke his hand, and I don't know if it's fully, the confidence to fend and do all that stuff is there at the moment. But I think he's good now, and I'm looking forward to the game, man. I'm actually so pumped. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to be there. Hopefully I don't get bashed by the Penrith fans. I'll probably be in and around the crowd. But yeah, it's finals for week 1. First game is my team versus arguably the best team of the last 4 years.
I reckon
I'm so excited.
Like both teams, like it sounds like all 8 teams are going to go all in, but I reckon there's a lot riding on this game. Like there's, and it's Captain Obvious, but this is one of them where I don't think you'd be looking half over your shoulder and going, we play the winner of Manly and the Dogs. That's a hard game to back up from. Obviously, Panthers and their level of motivation, looking at their team, all the focus is going to be on Cleary. But I think in order to stop Cleary, you go after Yo. He's the most important player in that team and how they attack. Now, Cleary gets a lot of the plaudits, as does Luai. Edwards and their back 3 work. But their attack is all focused around Isaiah Yo. So I think in order to stop Luai Cleary, you stop Yo first, and by doing that, you inadvertently, the consequences of stopping Yo are you also you have a better opportunity to stop Cleary and Luai. Like, you've got to work hard at marker on him. You can't allow him to skip.
He likes time.
Yeah.
Time and space. If he gets that, I think when you watched a couple of years ago, Queensland versus them, and Yo was he kept getting the ball first receiver, and Munster just kept flying out of the line and shutting down anything that he had planned. And I think it's hard to consistently do that, but it's something you sort of have to do, is you have to get off the line hard, and you have to shut the amount of time he gets to think and process, because he's a bloody brilliant footballer.
That's it. So if if you're that defender that defends in the halves, so 3 in from the touchline, rushes up, that stops the shift, or it certainly creates the illusion that they can't shift. But what
it takes away his thinking process. So
it's one of the cues that he thinks, oh no, I've got to run now. But his running game is so strong. So I agree with you. If you're defending at 3, if you're Keary or Sandon Smith, you get up hard to shut that down. But it's very difficult to do for the whole game. And then also the inside's got to work, because if you don't, his carry's pretty devastating as well. Just on the Roosters, cheese, their lack of discipline has been a concern.
Yeah.
Like, how much focus
I think
for
we're
them
the
is
most
on...
penalised team of the last 3 years.
Yeah, wow. But then what about...
We're the most penalised by a long shot this year.
What about errors as well? Like, again, going into that Souths game, like, there was a lot of... Yeah, the sloppy errors from the Roosters invited Souths down, and they scored.
That's the thing. That can't happen this week.
No, it can't. It just can't.
Penrith, their whole game is built around field position. Like, their whole game. That's why they don't do much coming out of yardage. They just go 4 outside backs and then a front row, and then they kick. And they're willing to play tennis with you the whole way. And as soon as you make an error, they're inside. That's the times they score. They don't really score from big distances away from the try line. They usually score when they're inside the 20. And they just do that for the whole game. They play that long game. But if you're making errors coming out of your own half, you're never going to beat them.
And they defend leads really well. Like, as in, if they get in front. Like, if they get out to a 8-point lead, it's so hard to chase that down.
Exactly. And if you get into their 20, they don't give a try up easy. So and if you're not playing that field position game really well with them, and you're only getting 3 or 4 opportunities inside their 20, you're only probably going to convert on one of those 3. That's just how it is. They're very good at stopping people from scoring tries, and they're very good at limiting the opportunities you actually get to score tries against them. Unless like the game they played last week, they can't play like that against the Roosters either. They had a lot of errors. Yeah. They gave up a lot of their field position. And if you give that many opportunities to the Roosters, I think they're the best attacking side. We are the best attacking side in the comp. We will score tries.
Yeah. It's going to be a great game. Like, the atmosphere is going to be electric out there. And it's the last game there at Penrith. Like, talk about like different narratives. It's their last game for I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons, while that ground gets redeveloped or half knocked down. It's like 400 million. It's not getting much, but that will be a big talking point. It's their spiritual home. Saturday afternoon, the Storm take on the Sharks. The Sharks, such a funny year, started like a house on fire. It then seemed to peak at that mid-stage of the season where they beat the Roosters. They beat Melbourne in Melbourne, so they've done this before. Lost to Penrith, and then I personally think there was a big focus point around that period, and they've sort of stumbled along their way. The Warriors game a couple of weeks ago, it was over. They came back into it. They go to Manly with nothing to play for. They win, doesn't matter. They lose, it doesn't matter. But it was arguably their most impressive performance of the year.
Yeah, it's weird, the Sharks one, because they've lost to some teams they really should have beat, and they should be sitting around second right now.
I think them finishing 4th is disappointing considering the opportunities that they had.
Yeah, it's a tough game to call the winner of. I think, Sharks on their day can beat the Storm, but Storm can beat the Sharks most days, which is, you know what I mean? It's hard to say. Like, if the Sharks really bring what they brought last week, they're a definite chance. But if the Storm bring what they bring last week as well, I just think they're too good of a side at the moment to be losing.
They're too hot.
This would really help the competition if Sharks knocked them off.
Well, mate, the way that the past couple of months of football has gone, there's so many twists and turns. And there's so many upsets happening. Like, you can't just back the favourites.
That's why I love this rugby league game and the season that's going on right now. Like, I got to eat my words for last week. I thought Redcliffe were going to absolutely smash the Knights. Now I'm doing a preview for week 1 for them. But yeah, I can't count any team out, and especially not the Sharks. They've already beat Melbourne. They've already beat us. I just think they're such a good side, and they play a game style that's similar to Penrith at the moment. They less expansive, more defensive. Craig Fitzsimmons, he's an all-defense coach.
It's funny as well, they're going down there, again, using that narrative of they're all expecting us to lose, and they're expecting us to lose the following week.
Yeah,
they're saying you can't compete in finals. Are we gonna allow them to say that, or are we gonna prove them wrong?
Well, they're a slept-on team at the moment. They have. No one's really been talking about them. It's all been Panthers, Storm, Roosters. They've literally fans and NRL geniuses have given Sharks no chance, and they'll run with that narrative.
Yeah.
Like Nico, I know, will be running with that narrative with the playing group, and then I'm sure Craig Fitzgibbon is doing the exact same from up above.
Braden Trindle's been excellent since coming back in. He's been a perfect foil and almost taken over a lot of those responsibilities in and around that creativity side of the Sharks and what they've got. And Iro and Ramian, they've got some great strike senses. Obviously, some great finishes in Ronaldo and Katoa as well. So,
and they got that Daniel Atkinson. He's a bit like the Wishart of the Sharks.
He is.
You know what I mean?
Two of the best 14, the genuine 14s going up against each other.
And genuine, like, Wishart can play, they all can play anywhere. You put them in the wing, centre, anywhere in the back line. Wishart can even play fucking front row if he wanted to, the way he's going.
Who you liking for this one?
I'm going to go... Fuck the Storm. I'm going to go the Sharks.
Really?
I'm going to go the Sharks in an upset.
Okay, I want to go the Storm.
Yeah, you can do that.
I want to go the Storm.
What did you say for the first game? You didn't say.
No, I didn't.
I'm going Chookies, by the way.
Yeah, no, I figured that. That's why I didn't ask. My silence. Nah, I'm going to go Panthers, mate. Sorry.
Charlie's going Panthers too. Should do a little wager, a little shave the head or something.
Cowboys v the Knights. Ponga against his old club. It looks like it's going to be centered around KP. The Cowboys, great game against the Dogs, but again, a week's such a long time in sport. The week before against Melbourne, half-baked Melbourne, they were awful. I reckon this one could be the upset.
The Knights?
Yeah.
You haven't...
I'm leaning towards the Knights.
You haven't been around
upset.
the Cowboys all year, have you?
I just don't like
you didn't like their game last week.
Well, no, they played really well, but they just based... I try and look at a season snapshot as opposed to a week ago. And
yeah. I mean, their defensive record's not the best. But like, you can't tell me that the season of Knights has really...
No, well, sorry, I'm going to contradict myself there, but I think recently, and a greater body of evidence than 1 week, I think that the Knights have shown a bit more.
Yeah, what do you think?
And also, geez, I think there's got to be an upset. I can't see it just going favorite.
Looks like we're not agreeing on any game here.
No.
What do you think? What do you think the Cowboys have to do to win this one?
Defend. It's as simple as that. They have to defend. And I don't think last week is a true enough reflection of good defense. It was. I think it was a one-off. The Dogs were quite poor with the ball. They didn't have many opportunities. So look, you look around there and you go, "Hey, we defended really well." But did you? Did you actually defend well? What did you come up against?
Yeah.
I'm a bit like, I think the Knights are going to come in.
What do you think?
More.
What do you think the Knights have to do to win? Who's got to cook in the Knights?
Well, they've got to shut down their edges. I think there's some good matchups here, like Leo Thompson, Saifiti. I like those guys coming up against Cotter. You know, your Frizzell, Kai Pierce-Paul is named on the extended. I like their edges up against Lukey and Nanai. Like, there's a lot of good battles there. You've got Bradman Best. I don't know. Is
it Bradman Best versus Val Holmes?
I don't know if they'll be on the same side. But I don't know. I think you're naive to think there's not going to be an upset, and I think this could be it.
Well, I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. You can stay with the Knights.
The final game of the finals, they've saved, in my opinion, the best to last. The Dogs are playing Manly.
The bias is crazy, man.
Why is that? Well, I've not even said it. You're assuming.
Oh, it's your favourite game of the round.
Well, it is. Yeah. Maybe Panthers v Chucks is the best game. I don't know. Just
stay with your bias. It's all good.
We're not
judging.
Right. You know when people make like predictions before the season starts, and I'll hold my hand up. I got some wrong, but not only did I predict that the Dogs would be in the finals, I actually predicted them to finish 6th. Just saying.
There's something fishy going on there.
6th. Not
fishy.
We're going to be top 4.
They threw that game last week, didn't they? Jimmy's prediction. Boys, we've got to go down by 40.
And then the Sharks were all like, oh, we've got to do it for Jimmy's predictions. Come on, lads. We've got to get this home. Just, you know. I also said the Warriors wouldn't make the 8.
See, there is something in that big ass head of yours.
Yeah. But no, this Dogs Manly game, a replay of a couple of weeks ago. Tommy Tavorovich, huge inclusion. What do you think, Cheese? I'll let you go with an unbiased opinion on this game.
Yeah, I'm liking the Dogs. I don't want to make you happy.
Thanks, mate.
That's not why I did that. I just like the Dogs. I like what they're building. You've got 230 tickets, so there's going to be a nice fan base down there. But I think with Matt Burden, it's going to be a different side than we saw last week. It's just his ability to kick them into better field position. I still, even though the Dogs lost by that much, I still saw a lot of effort in that game. I remember one try, I think it was a runaway, and there was more Dogs jerseys than Cowboys jerseys on the next play. So it was like they'd made a break, they had tackled him, they had already set on the line, and there was more Dogs jerseys than Cowboys jerseys, more defensive jerseys than attacking jerseys. And although they lost by a landslide, I think stuff like that in the finals, when you've got your full strength team, is what goes on to win games.
I think as well, like looking at this game, look, Manly, last time they played a couple of weeks ago, they clearly changed how they were going to play. There's more of a level of preparation now for the Bulldogs. I thought Manly just got the runaway a little bit. Now, if the Dogs tactically set themselves up a little bit differently, this game, like most of these games, are going to be won in the back end of the game. In the final 10 minutes is what it's going to come down to. That's what it should come down to. All these games should be, a battle of who's got it at the end. And I think the Dogs, with the way that they've won recent close games this year that have gone down to the wire in the last 10 minutes, they've come away with the victory. So I'm backing the Dogs to get it in the last 10.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the Dogs are a little bit fitter too. I think they've gone the distance on many more games than Manly. I think Manly sort of fall away towards the back end of the half, and just with their setup of their players, they're just huge, big monstrosity front rowers, and that's what they do. They come out fast and they try to take the game away from you early. They did it against us in round 2, and then the Dogs are the complete opposite.
Yeah.
They're small, they're ball-playing front rowers, they shift the ball a lot, and they move the defence around. And I think towards the back end, they've still got gas in the tank. So, I've got the Dogs here.
Yeah, it's going to be such a great spectacle for the game as well. Sunday afternoon at Addo-Carr Stadium, it's going to be a packed house, like a real celebration of finals of sport. It's due to break finals attendance records for a non-grand final game. I think it might be on track to rival that game against the Bulldogs and Parramatta from 2009. But yeah, that style of we're gonna start fast versus we're gonna try and get you at the end. It makes for a great matchup, and I'm just so happy that the Dogs are back in finals on a personal level. It's been way too long. We've got a couple of end of season awards, G's, to finish us off.
I forgot about that.
I'll go with your coach of the year.
My coach of the year is obviously Craig Bellamy.
What do you mean, obviously?
Obviously, because he won the minor premiership with 3 games left.
Yeah, true.
And he's done it a lot of times. I think we won it in 2021. We won it with 3 games left.
Yeah, fair enough.
And just he's lost, the players he's lost over the years, and just continually doing it. I don't really know how he does it.
Well, I'm going to go with Coach of the Year, Cam Serrala. I think what we've seen from the Dogs is around coaching. Yes, there's some players that have heavily contributed, but for me, he gets the Coach of the Year. Team of the Year?
Melbourne Storm. Just going on that exactly same path. They won the comp with 6 points to go, with players like Tyron Wishart, Trent Liero, Josh King, Sean Bloor. Like, we didn't know who those people were. Well, I knew who they were, but you didn't know who those people were before this season.
That's fair. You're my team of the year. Canberra. I reckon they've exceeded all expectations. They're not a team that should have been fighting for finals. And, like, they've finished 9th.
Yeah, fuck. They knocked off Penrith and Roosters.
Penrith, Roosters, like, they beat Manly. Like, they beat the Dogs.
Yeah, I've obviously gone for the obvious answers. You've really thought about this.
No, I've been
this guy,
really, like, mate, they shouldn't, like, the team that they've got, like, a lot of people criticise the Canberra Raiders, and they got themselves into finals last year, and I think everyone thought, like, they're going to be nowhere near this year. In fact, Charlie White predicted them for the wooden spoon. Talking all things predictions, but I've got them as my team of the year. And obviously I get heat for saying the Dogs, so yeah. Young player of the year. Got to be Galvin. There's no one else but Galvin.
I don't know. There's Keanu Kinney.
Yeah, true. He's pretty good. Well, I'm going to go Lockie Galvin, Cheese, because I think the Tigers, wooden spooners, to play in the halves and to be like the one shining light, maybe Addo-Carr as well, but he's been pretty good in a team that's finished bottom. And and he turned 19 in July.
No, I'm definitely with you. I'm trying to think of, like, the other players. There's that Jesse McLean, he's like 17.
Yeah, he's a gun.
There's but
Bailey Hayward, he's been a great young player.
I'd have to agree with you though, because Galvin's playing with the worst team in the comp, and he's 18-year-old starting halfback. He's an absolute stud. So I'll go Lockie.
And as well, like, he forced his way into that team. He started on the bench. Player of the year,
Jerome Hughes.
I'm with you. I had close.
If he doesn't get Dalian, I'll shave my head. That's a promise on my mum's.
All right.
I didn't need to do that, but I will.
I'd close second, Angus Crichton.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But I'm with you. Hughes is...
Angus Crichton.
He is a phenomenal player. He's got it all. That last week against the Broncos, when you think stereotypically about a halfback's role, he was like punching in behind the ruck off Harry Grant, like sensing an opportunity on last play instead of sitting back for the kick. He's gunning it. He's taking those courage carries as well, which is something that halfbacks aren't supposed to do. He's been sensational. Kicking game, all round general play is amazing. Kicking game, sensational. Organisation. You know when sometimes you look at a half and go, well, they've got to play to their strengths. Everything is his strength. His run, his kick, his pass, his game management. He's defensively strong as well. Like, he can't play to his strengths because they're all strengths. I think I'm with you. If he doesn't get Dally M, I'd give it up. It's been a rigged system.
It's crazy too to think like he was never a halfback growing up. He was always a fullback.
Very strange.
Masterstroke by my coach of the year. Masterstroke. But yeah, he's I love playing with Jerome, and he's got it all.
Yeah. All right, that wraps us up. Cheese.
What about some negative awards? That's also positive and kind and fluffy. What about who's the flop of the year?
All right, well, what we'll do next, Charlie's come with us with some...
I think Charlie's the flop of the year.
Captain Negative over there. We'll have some more awards on next week's Jam and Cheese, all right?
Charlie said too much positivity.
Yeah, that is a reflection of his personality.
It's the roid rage.
All right, Cheese, pleasure for joining us. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think, and we'll catch everyone next week.